Chapter 1. The night I died, I still remember the taste of that wine. Sweet, almost too sweet. It lingered on my tongue like honey, coating my throat as if it wanted to stay inside me forever. I thought it was a celebration, a toast to love, to the life we were building together. "You trust me, don't you?" she asked, her eyes glowing in the candlelight. I smiled at her. "With everything I have." Her lips curved into that gentle smile I had fallen for. My chest warmed as I raised the glass. I didn't notice her hand trembling, didn't question why she avoided my gaze. Love makes you blind. I was blind. I drank it all in one gulp. At first, nothing happened. I laughed, teasing her for watching me so closely. But then the laughter caught in my throat. My chest tightened, my stomach churned, and my breath grew short. My vision blurred. I dropped the glass and it shattered against the floor. "What's happening?" I gasped, clutching my chest. Her face turned cold. No fear, no panic, just silence. Then he stepped out from the shadows. Him, the man I had always trusted as a friend. "She did what needed to be done," he said smoothly, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You were in the way. You always were." My heart twisted, not just from the poison tearing through me, but from the sight of her leaning into him. The woman I loved, the one I would have given my life for, rested her head against his chest as if I had never existed. I collapsed onto the floor, gasping, clawing at the rug. Why would you?" Finally, she spoke. Her voice was soft but sharp enough to cut through me. "You ruined him. You ruined his chances, his dreams. You never saw it, did you? How much he hated you, how much I—" She stopped herself, but her eyes said everything. I felt my blood turn to fire. Every nerve screamed as my body betrayed me. I couldn't move, couldn't fight. He crouched down beside me, his grin wide, mocking. "Don't take it personally. Some men are born to rise, others to fall." Their laughter filled the room. The sound pressed against my skull, echoing in my head as my sight dimmed. My last thought wasn't of revenge. It wasn't even of them. It was of me. I thought of the man I had been, foolish, trusting, weak, a man who begged for scraps of love, who gave everything without question, who never saw the knives aimed at his back. As darkness swallowed me, I swore to myself, if fate gave me another chance, I would never beg again. I would never kneel before false love. My body went still. The world faded, but the memory of their laughter burned inside me, and that flame refused to die. Chapter 2. Born again in ashes. I woke up choking. My hands flew to my chest, expecting fire, expecting poison burning me alive again. But the pain was gone. Instead, there was air, cold, sharp, and clean. I sat up, gasping, my heart pounding like a drum. The room around me was familiar, too familiar. The wooden desk by the window, the cracked mirror leaning against the wall, the bed frame with the loose corner I always meant to fix. This was my old room, the one I had before everything fell apart. "No," I whispered, trembling. "This isn't possible." I stumbled toward the mirror. A younger face stared back. No gray in my hair. No scars at my jawline. My eyes, clearer, sharper, untouched by betrayal. I touched my own reflection, my fingers shaking. I'm back. Memories rushed into me like a flood. My death, the laughter, the poison. My last vow before the darkness took me. I had begged for another chance, and somehow it had been given. The door creaked open. "Still sleeping at this hour?" a familiar voice teased. I froze. It was her. She stood in the doorway, her hair tied back, her smile as bright as I once remembered. My heart lurched, torn between love and hate, between memory and reality. She hadn't poisoned me yet. She hadn't even chosen him yet. But she would. I forced a smile. "Just dreaming too much." She laughed softly, the sound like bells. I hated how my chest tightened at the sound. I hated how some part of me still wanted to believe she was innocent. "Come down," she said. "Everyone's waiting for you." As she walked away, I clenched my fists. My nails dug into my palms, grounding me. This time, I knew the truth. This time, I wouldn't be blind. At breakfast, the house was alive with chatter. Old friends, business partners, family. I remembered this day. I remembered how I trusted every one of them, never questioning their smiles. And him. He sat at the end of the table, laughing, his arm resting casually on the chair beside him. His eyes met mine, sharp and smug, though no one else noticed, the man who would later steal everything from me. "Ah, you're late again," he called out, smirking. "Didn't your lady wake you?" Everyone chuckled. I forced myself to laugh along, though bile rose in my throat. "Maybe I was too tired," I said lightly, sitting across from him. "Dreams kept me busy." He leaned forward, his smirk widening. "Dreams, huh? Careful, dreams can be dangerous." I met his gaze without flinching this time. "Not for me." For a moment, his smirk faltered. Just a flicker, but I saw it. I had never noticed before. Back then, I thought his arrogance was harmless. But now I knew it was poison waiting to spread. I let the conversation drift around me. Laughter, food, clinking cups. It was all the same, yet everything felt different. I studied every word, every gesture, like I was watching actors on a stage. The woman I loved leaned close to whisper in my ear, "Are you okay? You seem distant." I turned to her slowly. Her eyes were soft, filled with concern, the same eyes that once looked down at me as I lay dying. My throat tightened, but I swallowed the bitterness. "I'm fine," I said. "Better than ever." She smiled, relieved, and returned to her plate. I held on to in that smile, not with love this time, but with cold memory. This time I would not be the fool who drank her poison. This time I would watch. I would wait. And when the moment came, I would let them destroy themselves. Later that night, I sat alone in my room, staring out of the window. The city lights flickered in the distance, the same lights I once dreamed of conquering, the same city that had turned its back on me. My hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of this second chance. I whispered into the darkness, "I won't waste it. I won't waste this life again." The memory of their laughter still echoed in my head. But this time, I wasn't the same man. I was reborn in ashes, and I would rise from them stronger than ever. Chapter 3. The Snake in Disguise. The days that followed felt like walking on glass. Every smile, every touch, every word from her carried two meanings, the one she wanted me to hear and the one I knew lay beneath. Before, I would have drowned in her sweetness. Now I studied it like poison in a golden cup. "Why are you staring at me like that?" she asked one afternoon, tilting her head with a playful smile. I leaned back, keeping my voice calm. "Just wondering how I got so lucky." She blushed faintly, looking down. "You always say things like that." Yes, I always had. But now, I wasn't saying it because I believed it. I was saying it to watch how she reacted, to see if her eyes would flicker with guilt, if her hands would tighten the way they did when she lied. And they did. Every time. The man she chose over me, he hadn't made his move yet. Not openly, but I caught the way she looked at him when she thought I wasn't watching, the way her voice softened around him. One evening, we were all together, sharing drinks. He leaned back in his chair, laughing loudly, his gaze sliding to her again and again. "You're awfully quiet tonight," he said to me, smirking. I raised my cup. "Listening more. You learn a lot that way." He raised an eyebrow, amused. "And what have you learned?" I met his eyes, letting a faint smile tug at my lips. That snakes never stay hidden for long. For the first time, his smile faltered, just for a second, but I saw the tension in his jaw. The others didn't notice. They were too busy laughing, but she noticed. Her hand brushed my arm under the table as if trying to anchor me. "Don't drink too much," she whispered. "You're not good with wine." I turned to her slowly, the memory of that poisoned glass flashing in my mind. My stomach twisted, but I forced a chuckle. "You're right. I should be careful." Careful. That word became my shield. Days passed. I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse her. Instead, I let her believe I was still the same blind fool. At night, when we were alone, she curled against me, her warmth pressing into my side. Once, that would have comforted me. Now, it felt like a chain tightening around my chest. "I love you," she murmured. I stared at the ceiling, silent. "Did you hear me?" she asked softly. "Yes," I said. I didn't say it back. Her body stiffened slightly, but she forced a smile when I finally looked at her. "You're tired. Rest." I closed my eyes, pretending to sleep, but inside my heart whispered the truth. "I see you now. I see the snake behind the smile." The next morning, I caught her glancing at him across the courtyard. She looked away too quickly, laughing with a friend as if nothing had happened, but I had seen it. Every glance, every whisper, every lie, and I knew the woman I once loved was already gone. Chapter 4. The Lover's Secret. It was late when I followed her. I hadn't planned it. Something in her eyes at dinner told me she wasn't heading to bed when she excused herself. My gut twisted, and before I knew it, I was in the shadows. Steps quiet, heart pounding. She walked quickly through the courtyard, glancing over her shoulder once, then slipping through the side gate. My chest tightened. I knew where she was going. I knew who she was going to. The night air was cold, but sweat dampened my palms. When I reached the old garden behind the estate, I saw them. He was already waiting. "You're late," he said softly, though his voice carried. "I had to be careful," she whispered back, her tone tender in a way she'd never used with me. "He notices more now." My stomach dropped. She knew I was watching her more closely. She could sense it. He chuckled, pulling her into his arms. "Don't worry. He trusts you too much to see the truth." Her laughter, soft, intimate, stabbed through me. I clenched my fists until my nails cut into my palms. I wanted to storm out, scream, tear them apart. But I didn't. Not this time. This time, I listened. "You promised me," she whispered, resting her head against his chest. "You said one day, it would just be us." "It will," he replied smoothly. "Be patient. He's useful now. But soon." "Soon." His smirk was audible even in the dark. "Soon he won't matter." She sighed, as though relieved. "I hate pretending. Every time I lie to him, I feel like—" "Like what?" he teased. She hesitated, then whispered, "Like I'm poisoning myself." I nearly laughed at the irony, though the sound died in my throat. Poison. She already knew the word. She already carried it on her tongue. They kissed then, and I turned away, bile rising in my throat. Back in my room, I paced like a caged animal, my chest burned, my mind racing. I replayed every word, every smile, every touch. She wasn't mine. She never had been. And he, smug, arrogant, too sure of himself, thought he had already won. "Not this time," I whispered into the silence. My voice shook, but not from fear, from fury. The first time I had been blind. This time my eyes were wide open. The next morning she greeted me with a smile, setting a cup of tea before me. "Did you sleep well?" she asked, her voice soft, innocent. I looked at the cup, then at her. "I dreamed," I said calmly. She tilted her head. "Of what?" "Of snakes," I answered. For just a moment, her hand trembled. Then she forced a laugh. "You and your strange dreams." I smiled, matching her act. "Yes, strange." Inside my rage boiled, but I kept my mask. Let her think I was blind, let her think she had fooled me, because one day soon the mask would come off and the truth would devour them both. Chapter 5. The Moment of Poison. It happened on a night too familiar. The table was set with candles, the wine poured, the food arranged with care. She sat across from me, her smile sweet, her eyes glowing. It was the same night I remembered, the night she killed me. Only this time, I wasn't blind. "You seem nervous," I said, watching the way her hand trembled as she lifted the wine. She forced a laugh. "I'm not nervous. Why would I be?" "Why indeed?" I replied softly. Her eyes flickered, just for a second, but enough for me to know. She slid the cup toward me, her voice gentle. "Drink. For us." I stared at it, the same deep red liquid, the same sweet scent. My stomach twisted as memories flooded back, the fire in my veins, the helplessness, the sound of their laughter. This was it, the moment my first life had ended. My hand closed around the cup. Her breath caught, though she tried to hide it. "You trust me, don't you?" she whispered. I lifted the cup slowly, watching her every move. "Of course," I said. She smiled, victorious, certain she had won again. I raised it to my lips, tilting it, then stopped. Instead of drinking, I set it down carefully on the table. Her smile froze. I leaned closer, my voice low. "Not this time." Her face went pale. Before she could speak, the door opened. He entered, casual as ever, his smirk wide. "Is it done?" he asked, his eyes flicking to the cup. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I laughed. The sound startled even me. "Done," I repeated, my voice sharp. "Oh, it's done, just not the way you thought." They both froze, staring at me as if I had turned into a ghost. Maybe I had. Maybe the man they had killed was still haunting them, speaking through me. I pushed the cup toward her. Why don't you drink it instead?" Her eyes widened. What? If it's safe," I said calmly, "then drink." Her hand shook violently now. He stepped forward, glaring at me. "Stop playing games." I stood, meeting his gaze head on. For the first time, I didn't look away. "You want me gone. You both do. But this time, I won't make it so easy." His smirk cracked, anger flashing in his eyes. "Careful. You don't know what you're saying." "Oh, I know exactly what I'm saying," I snapped. "The two of you planned my death once. I remember every detail. Her hand, your laugh, the poison in my blood." They stared at me, stunned into silence. "How?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "How do you—" "Does it matter?" I cut her off. "I know, that's enough." I stepped closer, my shadow falling over them both. She flinched. He clenched his fists. I whispered, calm and steady, "I won't kill you. Death is too easy. No, I want you to live. I want you to watch everything you built together turn to ash. I want you to feel the ground crumble beneath your feet, just as I did." Her knees buckled, and she sank into her chair, pale as paper. He grabbed her arm, furious. "Get up. He's bluffing." But even he didn't sound convinced. I turned toward the door. "Enjoy your wine. You'll need it." And I walked away. Back in my room, I sat in silence, my heart pounding. My hands shook, not from fear, but from release. I had faced the moment of poison and survived. The man who once died on this night was gone. In his place stood someone new, someone reborn. And this time, I wouldn't fall. This time, I would let them destroy themselves. Chapter 6. Silent Fire. After that night, something changed between us. She tried to smile at me, but her lips trembled. Her eyes, once confident, darted away whenever I looked at her. He grew restless too, watching me as if I were a threat he couldn't name. They were right to be afraid. I didn't confront them again. I didn't scream, didn't rage, didn't expose them. I let them stew in their fear while I quietly pulled away. When she reached for my hand, I let it slip from her fingers. When he tried to mock me, I smiled as if I knew a secret he didn't. And slowly, the cracks began to show. One afternoon, she cornered me in the study. "Why are you avoiding me?" she demanded, her voice shaky. I leaned back in my chair, calm. "Avoiding you? I've just been busy." "Busy?" Her eyes filled with frustration. "You don't talk to me the same anymore. You don't even look at me the same." I smirked. Maybe I finally learned how to see clearly. Her face went pale. "What's that supposed to mean?" I stood, brushing past her. "It means you should be careful. Snakes are easy to step on once you know where they hide." She gasped softly, but I left her there, trembling. Meanwhile, he grew bolder, desperate to prove he still had control. "You think you can outplay me?" He sneered one evening when we were alone. I poured myself a drink, unbothered. "Outplay you? No, I don't need to." His brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" I sipped calmly. "You'll destroy yourself. I just have to watch." He slammed his fist against the table. "You arrogant!" I met his glare with a smile sharp enough to cut. "Careful. Anger makes snakes careless." For the first time, he had no reply. Weeks passed, and I began moving quietly in the background. I cut ties with their allies one by one, feeding them subtle truths, half hints of betrayal. The whispers spread like fire. "Did you hear? He's been lying. She can't be trusted. They'll bring ruin to anyone near them." The walls of their world began to bend inward. At night, I heard their arguments through the walls. "You promised me everything," she screamed. "You're the one losing control," he shouted back. I lay in bed, eyes closed, smiling. Their love was rotting from the inside, exactly as I had planned. One evening, she came to me again, her eyes swollen from crying. "Why are you doing this?" she whispered. I tilted my head. "Doing what?" "Pulling away, making me feel like I don't exist." Her voice cracked. "I still love you." Her words almost made me laugh. Almost. I leaned closer, my voice low. "Love? You don't even know what that word means." She flinched as if I had struck her. "Go," I said coldly. "Go back to him. That's where you belong." Tears streamed down her face, but she turned and fled. I watched her go, my chest hollow. Once her tears would have broken me. Now they were nothing but ashes. As for him, he tried to hold their crumbling empire together, but his pride was his weakness. Every lie he told, every promise he broke, returned to choke him. All I did was stand back and smile. The fire they had lit for me was finally consuming them, and I didn't have to lift a finger. Chapter 7. Watching them burn. I didn't need to move against them directly anymore. The cracks I left behind grew deeper every day. People whispered. Friends who once smiled at them began to hesitate. Business partners delayed meetings. Invitations stopped arriving. It was slow at first, like rot spreading beneath the surface. But I saw it. I savored every second. One night, I overheard them. Their voices cut through the thin walls like knives. "You promised me power," she shouted. "And you promised me loyalty," he shot back. "You're dragging me down with you. Maybe you were never worth saving." I leaned against my door, listening, smiling to myself. The same voices that once whispered betrayal against me were now tearing each other apart. The next day, he confronted me. His eyes were bloodshot, his shirt wrinkled. "You're behind this," he growled. "All of it. The rumors, the lost deals, the people pulling away. It's you." I raised an eyebrow. "And if it is?" He clenched his fists. "I'll ruin you." I laughed softly. "You already tried. Remember? You poisoned me with her love. You stabbed me where it hurt most. And yet—" I spread my arms. "Here I stand, stronger, untouched, while you're the one falling apart." His jaw tightened. "You think you've won. She chose me." I leaned closer, my voice low and sharp. "She chose a sinking ship, and you're dragging her down with you." He shoved me, but I didn't fight back. I only smiled. That smile was enough to break him more than any punch could. Later that week, she came to me again. She looked tired, her beauty dimmed by sleepless nights. "Please," she whispered, standing at my door. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer. I let her in. She sat on the edge of my chair, trembling. "He's changing. He's angry all the time. I don't know what to do." I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "And what do you expect from me?" Her eyes filled with tears. I thought maybe you could forgive me. I almost laughed in her face. Instead, I tilted my head. "Forgive you? For what exactly?" Her lips quivered. For betraying you." The words finally came out, fragile and broken. I walked over slowly, bending down so my eyes met hers. "Do you know what betrayal feels like?" I whispered. "It feels like poison. It burns slow. It kills piece by piece. And you gave it to me with a smile." She sobbed quietly, covering her face. I straightened, cold. "You chose him. You burned me alive with your choice. Now live with it." Her shoulders shook, and for the first time I didn't feel a shred of pity. Days blurred into nights, and their downfall grew louder. Their arguments were no longer whispers, but public displays. At a gathering I attended, I watched them from across the room. He snapped at her in front of everyone, calling her useless. She retaliated, screaming that he ruined her life. People stared, some laughed quietly, others shook their heads. And me? I sipped my drink, calm, invisible in plain sight. They were burning, and I was the silent witness. One evening, he stormed into my office, reeking of alcohol. "You think this is funny?" he spat. "You think you're better than me now?" I didn't even look up from my papers. "Not better, just patient." "Damn you!" He slammed his fist on my desk. "She's slipping away. Everything's slipping away." I finally looked at him, meeting his broken eyes. "Good." He froze, breathing hard, shaking with rage. "Good," I repeated, leaning closer, "because now you know how it feels. To lose everything. To watch the world you built crumble, while the one you betrayed walks away stronger." He stared at me, trembling. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. He staggered back and left without another word. That night, she returned again, tears streaking her face. "He's out of control," she whispered. "I don't even recognize him anymore. I'm scared." I studied her quietly. Once, I would have wrapped her in my arms. Once, I would have sworn to protect her. Now, I only said, "You should be scared." She shook her head, falling to her knees. "Please, please, I made a mistake. I thought I loved him, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. I need you. I need you to forgive me." I looked down at her, heart cold as stone. "You made your choice," I said softly. "Now burn with it." Her sobs filled the room, echoing off the walls. I turned away, leaving her there, broken. Watching them destroy each other became almost too easy. But deep inside, I felt something else too. A hollowness. A silence. Revenge was sweet, yes, but it was also empty. Still, I wasn't done. Not yet. Their end was near. I could feel it, and I would be there to watch every last ember fade. Chapter 8. The Final Confrontation. The storm came on a night heavy with rain. Thunder rattled the windows, lightning lit the sky, and I felt the pull of fate dragging me toward the end. They came together this time, both of them bursting into my study like desperate animals. He looked wild, eyes bloodshot, clothes disheveled. She was pale, trembling, mascara running down her face. "Enough!" he shouted, slamming the door shut behind him. "This ends tonight." I leaned back in my chair, calm. "Finally," I said. "I was beginning to think you enjoyed falling apart." His fists clenched. "You did this. You ruined us." "No," I corrected him, voice steady. "You ruined yourself. You just gave me the pleasure of watching." She stepped forward then, her voice cracking. "Please, please stop this. Don't push us any further. I admit it. I betrayed you. I chose him. I destroyed everything we had. But if you keep going, you'll destroy me completely." Her words hit like knives, but I didn't flinch. "You destroyed yourself the moment you poisoned me," I said coldly. "The moment you laughed in my face while handing my heart to him." Her lips trembled. "I was foolish. I thought I loved him. I thought he would give me more than you ever could," he sneered at her. "Don't blame me now. You begged me to take you away from him." Her eyes widened, turning on him. "You said you loved me." "I loved what you gave me," he spat. "Your body, your loyalty, your betrayal. That was all." The silence after his words was louder than thunder. She collapsed to the floor, sobbing, and I watched, my chest heavy, my hands steady. "You see," I said softly, "this is what betrayal buys. Empty promises, lies stacked on lies. And when the flames come, you burn together." He pointed at me, furious. "Don't act like you're better than us. You wanted this. You wanted to see us suffer." I stood, finally, walking toward him. "You're right. I did. And do you know why? Because I already suffered once. You killed me once, and no one gets to kill me twice." I was close enough to see the fear in his eyes now. "You think you've won," he muttered. I smiled. "I don't need to win. You've already lost." Lightning flashed, and for a moment, everything froze. Him glaring, her sobbing, me standing between them like the ghost they thought they buried. Then she crawled toward me, grabbing my sleeve. "Please," she begged, tears soaking her cheeks. "I'll do anything. Forgive me. Take me back. I'll leave him. Just don't let me drown like this." Her voice cracked on the last word, and for a heartbeat, I almost saw the girl I once loved. But that girl was gone. I pulled my sleeve free. "No," I whispered. "You made your choice. And now you live with it." Her sobs broke into wails, echoing through the storm. He grabbed a bottle from the table, smashing it against the floor. "If I go down, I'll take you with me," he shouted, pointing the jagged glass toward me. I didn't move. "Do it," I said quietly. "End it here. Prove to her what kind of man you really are." He froze, chest heaving, sweat dripping down his face. His arm shook. "Coward," I whispered. The word cut deeper than any blade. He dropped the glass, falling back against the wall, defeated. The storm outside howled louder, shaking the house. Inside, the three of us stood in the wreckage of lies, love, and betrayal. She knelt on the floor, broken, begging for a hand I would never offer again. He slumped against the wall, crushed under the weight of his own failure. And me? I stood tall, calm, alive. They had poisoned me once. They had destroyed me once. But I had been reborn, and in my rebirth, I had watched them burn. Before leaving, I spoke one last time, my voice sharp and final. "You both thought I was weak. You both thought I would crawl back, beg, or die quietly. But I lived, and I'll keep living, while you rot in the ashes of your choices." Her sobs filled the silence. His silence admitted defeat. I opened the door, the storm wind rushing in, washing over me like freedom. And as I stepped out into the rain, I didn't look back. Chapter 9. Her begging days passed after the storm, but the echoes of that night never left me. The whispers in town grew louder, about him, about her, about the ruin they had become. Once, people envied them. Now, they pitied them. Or worse, they laughed. I watched it all in silence, and then, one evening, I heard a soft knock at my door. When I opened it, she stood there. Her face was pale, eyes swollen from crying, lips cracked. She looked nothing like the woman who once laughed in my face as she held another man's hand. "Please," she whispered, "let me in." I hesitated, then stepped aside. She walked in slowly, like a ghost. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. She stood in the middle of the room, wringing her hands, trembling. Finally, she broke the silence. "He's gone." I raised an eyebrow. "Gone?" Her voice cracked. "He left. Took what little money we had left and disappeared. No word, no goodbye, just gone." A bitter laugh escaped my throat. "So the man you betrayed me for abandoned you. That's rich." She winced. "I deserve that. I know I do, but I came here because I don't know where else to go." I leaned back in my chair, folding my arms. "And what do you expect from me? Comfort? Forgiveness? A place to hide?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I expect nothing. I only hope." She dropped to her knees suddenly, shocking me. "I was wrong," she cried, her hands clutching at my leg. "I was blind, foolish, selfish. I thought I loved him, but it was a lie. I threw you away for nothing. Please forgive me. I can't breathe without your forgiveness." Her sobs tore through the room, raw and desperate. Once I would have pulled her up, wiped her tears, promised her everything would be all right. But that man was dead. "You poisoned me," I whispered. "Do you remember? You handed me death and smiled. And now you want my hand to pull you back from drowning?" She shook her head violently. "I'll do anything. I'll serve you. I'll stay by your side like a shadow. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Just don't push me away, please." Her tears stained the floor, her voice breaking. I crouched down slowly, lifting her chin so her eyes met mine. "Do you know what I see when I look at you?" I asked. She blinked, tears blurring her vision. "What?" "A lesson," I said coldly. "A reminder of how blind love can destroy a man. A reminder of why I can never let myself be fooled again." Her lips trembled. "But I love you now, I do. I swear I do." I shook my head. "No, you love survival. You love the idea of being saved. But me? You don't love me. You only love the memory of the man who once did." She broke then, wailing, clutching at my arm as if her life depended on it. "Please, please don't leave me like this. If you walk away now, I'll die." Her words cracked something in me, but not pity. Clarity. I stood, pulling my arm free. "You already killed me once," I said quietly. "So die if you must. But this time, it won't be my grave you're digging." Her scream followed me as I walked to the door. You can't just abandon me like this. After everything, after all the pain, you can't be this heartless." I turned back, my hand on the door frame, my shadow stretching across the floor. "You're wrong," I whispered. "I can." Then I opened the door and stepped out, her sobs echoing behind me like the ghost of a past I no longer carried. That night, as I walked through the rain-soaked streets, I felt the weight lift from my chest. She had begged, she had crawled, she had shattered into pieces before me, and I hadn't broken. For the first time, I was free. Chapter 10. Closure. The rain had stopped by morning. I stood by the window, watching the world slowly wake. The streets glistened with last night's storm, and for the first time in a long time, I felt no weight pressing down on my chest. She was gone. He was gone. The chains of betrayal that once bound me were broken. I was alive. Not the man I had been before, the blind fool who gave his heart freely, who trusted too easily, who mistook poison for love. That man had died with her first betrayal. What remained was me, stronger, colder, wiser. People asked questions, of course. They wanted to know what had happened to the once envied couple. I only gave the same answer every time. They burned. It was true. Their downfall wasn't my victory. It was their own choices devouring them. I had only stood by and watched, and that was enough. One evening, I returned to the old garden, the place where I had first seen them together in secret. The flowers were dead now, the ground overgrown with weeds. I stood there, breathing in the silence, remembering the sting of betrayal, the suffocating pain of that night. For a moment, the memories tried to pull me under, her laughter, his smirk, my own helpless rage. But then I let them go. The garden didn't belong to them anymore. It belonged to me, A place not of pain, but of survival. I thought of her sometimes, not with love, not with hate, but with a strange emptiness. She had begged, she had crawled, she had offered me everything, and I had walked away. That was the moment I truly won, not when their world crumbled, not when she broke before me, but when I chose not to let her poison touch me again. That was freedom. I built a new life after that, step by step, quiet, steady, without the weight of the past dragging me down. I didn't chase revenge anymore. I didn't chase forgiveness either. I simply lived, and living, I discovered, was the greatest revenge of all. Sometimes, late at night, I asked myself a question. If she came back again, if she stood at my door one more time, broken and begging, what would I do? The answer came easily now. I would close the door, because some doors, once shut, are never meant to open again. I looked out at the sunrise, feeling the warmth on my skin. The storm had passed. The poison was gone. And for the first time, I felt something I thought I had lost forever: peace.